So talking about partnerships, I think that the key part here, then when we talk about also in the manufacturing side, what is the power of partnerships? What is the collaborative advantage that we can get for being together? We heard earlier that there's an option to working together on different levels, and what we would like to share is where is it really that things starts? And for Omron and for Nokia together, our journey started on delivering this collaborative advantage by looking at, are we actually a fit? You know, it's always nice to standing up here and talk about what we need to do as partners, but we know that it doesn't work unless when we sit down, that we actually have the same visions and the same way of working for getting it done. And for Nokia and for Omron, a key part of that is, from a Nokia perspective, our core competence and what we would like to do is we're talking about how we create the technology that helps the world act together. But at the same time, that is not enough, because what do we, our technology on its own has to be used for something. And this is where we have a very, very strong relationship, I would say, when we go out as an industry and find the right partners out there to deliver this. So from an Omron perspective, as you can see, what is the machine, the work of, working of the machine, and then also what is the thrill that we get of doing the creation of it. And for us, a key component of our partnership has been that these two culture is a very, very good fit of finding the right solutions forward. And it has been key for what we want to show you, that and I think we concluded on the last presentations, that maybe it's not the factory of the future, maybe it's just the factory of tomorrow. So with that, let's share a little bit on that journey that we also been on together and where it is that our competence and partnerships fits.
Thank you, Jane. So again, it is very important when you talk about partnership, is not because we love each other, because to start with, we need each other.
Love a little bit. Come on, a little bit of love.
There is a little bit of love, but still we need each other, because you need us to work together. So let's start first with a very simple thing. And you say, where are the market forces, that are forcing us again to work together? So in manufacturing, talk about, I think some of the people below spoke about really the marketplace. So there are market forces, and these market forces are shaped by, the fact that we are moving from mass to targeted to personalized, meaning that there are very, very few factories today who are dreaming about, having zillions of making the same product. It's very important today to understand that, the challenge with factories that have been built 40, 50 years ago, they have to really cater and to face today's business that is, high mix and quite very small volume. So there are operational impact, and I go very quickly here, and human and regulatory impact. Not only today's factories have to produce and to be effective, but also more and more there are stringent rules and regulation. So here we talk about, going from high mix, low volume, the fact that 80% of the factories, I would say 90% are obsolete, et cetera, and from the human and regulatory impact, of course, ESG, shortage of workers, and the need for traceability. Today, I think there are 2 or 3% of the factories that are called smart factories or factories of the future. 90% of the factories that are visited are still mostly operating in silos. Again, they can be digital silos, but still silos. And all these interfaces we have now in terms of connectivities are probably still manual. So the idea really is to, to talk about people, process, and plant, and really all these game changers and game enablers that we are talking today, system integration, machine automation, vision, robotics, etc., cybersecurities, are having, to enable, this integration. Okay.
So maybe to say that, how do we then achieve this? So I know that earlier today on this stage there was also a discussion on what is the technology behind it. Now, any of the things that we want to do, and we are at Mobile World Congress, right? So we need to talk a little bit on technology. But there are some game changers out there to achieve these changes and the rethinking of what we do of manufacturing. And the first part where we say that there's basically game changers is when we talk about the robotics. So Omron, you have a lot of experience and bringing a lot to the table on saying what is the collaborative, what is the mobile robotics that we have out there, and how do we change not only the past but also think forward on these parts. So that definitely has an impact on how we see manufacturing. At the same time, again, we can talk about AI, IoT, and we can talk about industrial IoT, but we can also talk about how do we take the next steps of having edge and having AI to actually be part of this. So we have a lot of data, and we heard before that you need to be able to use it the right way to find how can it be more efficient, what is my productivity, how do I get to a personalization of my manufacturing side. But we need to be able to, you could say there's new opportunities to use this the right way. And that comes also with this whole automation piece. If we have the data, we can automate in a different way today and tomorrow than we could yesterday. Then we had a little bit of debate on the virtual twin. One too early, just to go back. So on the virtual twin, or a digital twin, and when we prepared for this, we had a little bit of discussion of saying, is the virtual twin, or is it a digital twin? The digital twin is actually giving you a you're missing a dimension type of thing when you talk about it. So we concluded we actually, and I know we're breaking a little bit on the buzzwords around the floor here, but we want to talk about virtual twins instead, so that we get to the next part. How do we also have this immersive technology around us that we use it? We cannot do these game changers unless we also have some game enablers. And this is again where we see the partnership is very, very fundamental, that the ones producing the game changers might not be the same one that doing the enablers. And from an Omron Nokia perspective, this is definitely where we've seen that there's very good collaboration happening. So from our side, we talk a lot about cloud computing. How do we have the right clouds, the right places with the right fundamental characteristics of the clouds? We talk about the augmented reality, so the extension of how can we get the physical and digital world closer. Cybersecurity, you mentioned it, and I think it was mentioned before as well. It's not only data protecting, but it's also the network protection. If we start having networks that needs to be used for control systems, you have to be able to trust them in a completely different manner, also from the outside in. And then, of course, the technology pure of AI, ML, and understanding where is the right place to put it, for what, and in what is the algorithms part of it. And then fundamental for Nokia is, of course, we would like to make sure that all of this is happening on a mobile network, because it gives us a flexibility back to the collaborative and mobile robotics. And with this, we will say that this is not the factory of the future, but the factory of tomorrow, because Omron, you've done it.
Yeah, basically it's the factory of tomorrow made with technology of today. So 5 years ago, we were really looking at, this is what we want. No factory was running like that, no process was running like that. And of course, really here, we wanted to explore different possibilities. You see that the machines are completely decoupled. There is no big lines. You can also create a machine as, you can create a cell if it's needed. We are talking about here not scale up, but scale out. We're talking about getting rid of the conveyor system and having mobile robots. And you see also very important that the people that are working there should be empowered by automation, not slaved to automation. This is at least our, our simple and basic approach. So, you would say, okay, fantastic, very good. I hope that, but is it real? But I said 5 years ago we had that vision. Today we have factories working with that vision. So this is not far away from here, it's in Spain. And this is basically an equipment manufacturer, Autolim, where really they have applied, this vision we have outlined. And now, of course, as Jane said, this is not about just pure performance and robotization. This is also about networking and connectivity, which is a real enabler. For us, when we talk to Nokia, or Nokia talk to us, I don't know, we know each other for some time, and we share again the same values. When they spoke about 5G, we asked them, are we talking about millisecond? They said yes. Then yes, we can we can do a lot of things. So this is opening a lot of things. We are manufacturers, we are real time, so we talk about milliseconds, sorry. This is what is happening. And this is, you see here, you know, there are no people, and it's true. The people are not transferring, they're not transporting, they're not really using muscle force. The people are supervisors, you know, which for us, again, if I add a small stupid slogan, because I'm not a friend of slogan, is really turning operators into creators.
So then the part is to say we started the journey, and you can hear we've been working on this one for quite a while, because it is 5 years ago. We were just, again, joking a little bit on saying if we were probably a bit too earlier. But we're here today, and we're taking that journey. And with that journey, it has been a partnership around not only the technology, what I would say, how do we build? We've been doing an amazing, from a Nokia perspective, 5G technology, where we've been looking at things like millimeter wave, on saying how do we do that forward. But I also, at the same time, learning, because we bring something very, very different to each other. And these parts is that we see that this journey definitely continues. And it continues because, well, one of the biggest buzzwords we have today here is about metaverses. But metaverses, and I literally say verses because there's more than one. And I'm not talking about the consumer one that we normally hear about in the media, but in this case, we see that this is about an industrial metaverse, because it's an evolution from where we are today, where we have, yes, we have VR glasses, we can do things, we have augmented reality, we have even haptic-enabled control systems for what there is, and we do see that we start seeing the first factories of tomorrow. But we do see that this will evolve, and will evolve with technology, but also very much dependent on partnerships, because we only need to evolve what we have to actually get a benefit out of. And we see that the next steps of this is how do we merge this physical and the digital world, even more of what there is. We need to talk about sensing, we need to talk about acting for what there is, and we need to be able to have interoperability between all of this. I think you said earlier that the factories, with 80% of them already out there, well, we have a lot of equipment that is already on the floor that needs to be used in new ways. So with this, we see that our journey together has started, it's been going on. We see that things are real, but we also see we still have partnerships to collaborate on, because we need to get to this industrial metaverse. We need to be able to get to a part where we're not just talking about IoT and big data and AI, but we see the combination of it. And with that, we are merging the technology that we have very much in Mobile World Congress, the industry expertise that exists, which probably is not always here, maybe this year better than it was 5 years ago, but definitely also what is the business that we then have together on this one. So with this, I don't know, closing word from you, Faouzi, it's...
Love.
Love, love. That's good.
Thank you
with
very
that,
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.